we are going to look ahead now to this week's games, and we're going to start by previewing the first game of the weekend, which is Portugal against Romania.
That's right.
Now this game takes place on Saturday, March 13th, as we say, 1 o'clock local time and GMT, which is...
Perfect curtain raiser for Six Nations-ish.
Not the perfect curtain raiser, because it's actually... it's going to clash a little bit needlessly with the Italy game against Wales, which doesn't make much sense because that kicks off 2:15, so it'll be like midway through the second half that game will be kicking off, which is no good. But if you do want to watch, these games are available on Rugby Europe TV. We will have a link somewhere.
Yes.
For you guys to go chasing. You have to sign up, I think, but it's all free.
It's free sign up, and then you just have the games. It's great. They're making it. Well, we were begging for some of the South American guys to do and stuff. Just make it available. Tier 2 rugby, make it available.
Easy access for these games, and this is actually a fascinating matchup.
Yeah.
Because in Portugal you have a side with a clinical goal kicker who'll punish in discipline, who can move the ball really quickly, who are very, very skilled, have a great capacity to take tries, are a coming force in Portugal against a side that are
a bit of a fading force.
A mismatch though for Portugal physically.
A
bigger team,
and stronger.
A stronger team, and Portugal's defence, especially towards the tail end of that Georgia game, really did come asunder.
It did.
In the face of physical pressure, and in that sense, it's a funny clash of styles.
It's a humdinger of a clash of styles. Like styles make matchups in all these things, and it's a big burly pack with discipline issues and a slower tempo. Ideally, that's the Romanians versus a Portuguese side that does like to be all razzle dazzle. It all goes through Marques. They're really good 9 who will kick their goals from miles out and will get them moving with a bit of zip and tempo, trying to be crisp and accurate. It is in Lisbon, so that plays into the Portuguese style a bit more than if it were down in Romania.
Nice weather due as well.
Yeah, indeed. So it's a curious one. I think that for the lovers of offensive footy, you have to be rooting for Los Lobos, the Portuguese, to try and set their tempo early and kind of run around the Romanians. But there's a traditionalist that wants to see Romania not be completely impotent too.
No, indeed, and like they were under a lot more physical pressure against Russia than they will be, I suspect, against Portugal.
Yeah, I feel like Portugal could be the weak. Obviously, with Belgium not in it yet, it's between Belgium and the Netherlands to get the last spot in it. So up until then, when it's a 5-team comp, Portugal might be the slightest of those.
Oh,
5.
for sure, slightest physically, but that doesn't necessarily mean the worst.
No,
and they put it up to Georgia last week with a bit of speed, a bit of tempo, a bit of clinicality. But the Romanians up against a not as prudish a defence as the Russians have scope to find tries as well, and they scored a great one last week. They just need to build on that, and obviously let's limit the discipline count as well, because that was atrocious last week.
Taking from the Eddie Jones playbook of things to work on this week, stop coughing up penalties.
Andy Robinson, what are you doing? They did not look well coached last week.
They spent a lot of money on a guy who does have Six Nations experience, but as you correctly point out, wasn't he with Scotland and England, during which time he did terribly for both?
No, that's my only real memory of Andy Robinson, was him doing poorly in his head coach roles, and here he is in Romania, and so far so poor. This was not a good showing against Russia, and they have to bounce back, because for both of these teams, 0-2 does not look good. And even Portugal, a home loss to Romania, the loss against Georgia is
it'll probably be a wash.
Balanced out.
If Georgia go and run the table as they have done for the last few years, then that's
chalked off. But a loss here at home to Romania would be bad.
Huge.
It'd be if they're looking at qualifying for the World Cup,
which they are.
It's going to be very, very tough for them if they lose this game. And likewise, Romania, having lost to Russia.
That's where it's both teams are backs to the wall, and both teams want to be at the World Cup. As we were saying with Portugal, the last time they were in the World Cup was when it was last in France. I'm sure that's on their mind as well.
Yeah.
They are targeting this 2023 competition, and that involves winning this tough game against Romania. It'll no doubt be a physical contest, but
it's a similar picture for Portugal, if a less difficult one this week. I think what they have to do in terms of tips for Portugal to win the game: keep the tempo really high, keep attacking space, and then the difference maker, I would say, is find a try earlier in the game.
Recognise key moments, I think. Don't be just kicking the threes over. There are learnings to take. There's encouragement and learnings to take from their showing against Georgia last week, and one of them is exactly what you pointed out. There's on 50 odd minutes or on 40 odd minutes, we took a 3-pointer to make it a whatever 6-point game. Then 2 minutes later, we're under our own sticks and we're behind. Yeah. That can't be repeated. You need to, when you have your chance, try and make the most of it.
And yet they do need to punish the indiscipline. If Romania bring that same indiscipline, punishing it with 3-pointers is no bad thing. But I just think finding an early try and then from there settling and trying to build score with 3-pointers is important. But I don't think, just given their last quarter showing and how physically beat up they were by that period, I think they're going to need some early scoreboard pressure to see at home.
You want to see
because Romania will be physical.
Rather than 3-6-9, you want to see like 3-10-13.
Yeah.
Here's
7-3-3, 7-10-13 is fine as well. Like just getting on the board early would be hugely beneficial to them.
Yes.
Because I suspect they may run into the same issues in the final quarter. Just with the physicality of the Romanian pack, they did look. One thing about that Russia-Romania game is that it did look physical.
Yes, and you got to expect that from them as well. That's traditionally what Romania would be associated with: big, powerful, kind of loose forwards, and a kind of a more bludgeoning style than Portugal will be bringing to the party. So they have to try and set their tempo.
Romania need to play with much more discipline. That's the key. That's the
one work on. It's tough to even analyse them. Like a lovely try, but it's like until you stop giving away penalties, you're not even playing the game. That's why with Russia we couldn't even break down how well or otherwise they played. They just kicked the goals and punished the ill discipline. So folks, if you're Romanian, stop giving away the penalties. Then maybe you'll win the game. Because I think with their physicality, they might back themselves to be the kind of fitter or certainly less worn down team by the last quarter, and then you can nick the game. But you gotta be in it to win it, and you will get yourself straight out of it if you're on the wrong side of the ref straight away and it's 3-6-9 gone.
Tighten up all of that stuff. Use your physicality and find some space for Dumitru, that right winger, because he looks class.
He looks very dangerous.
The Georgian maul defence. The Portuguese maul defence looked dodgy as well. So that's a place to go.
Actually, Portugal have the look of an old school kind of early aughts or 1990s team where they have a bit of razzle dazzle in the bicks. And then the tight forward, like you're looking at the tight head, and he's absolutely just old man bod on him. Like he's got a proper dad bod, and he's gassed after 20. And you're like, okay, well, this, that is what it is.
It's pretty brutal.
The Fetties and the quick guys. They're a bit of a flashback team. I love them, to be honest. It's Los Lobos versus the Oaks, and I want Portugal to win. I would love to see Portugal and Spain both get to the World Cup.
Yeah. But, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to predict that Portugal win. I'm going to back the team that are trying to attack with verve and tempo, and the home team as well.
You don't go very far in this game betting for the Andy Robinson team to come up with a win. But that said, Romania have the quality and the physicality to turn it around. Yeah. But I do think on the evidence of the first week, Portugal look a much more competent side. And they should take it down at home in the sun with some nice tries. So I'll call Portugal for this one.
Yeah, same as. Right, thank you very much for watching that video. If you're new here, please like and subscribe for more content, and leave a comment down below as well, because we really enjoy the chat and hearing your views. Thank you.